All these fake psychologists on Instagram and TikTok, they sort of recommend cutoff culture. So it must be even bigger now. And it sounds quite big then, but it is a phenomenon.
Brooklyn Beckham has accused his parents of controlling behaviour in a bombshell statement that also says he doesn't want to reconcile with his family. He's accused his mum, Victoria, of humiliating him by dancing on him at his wedding to the actress Nicola Peltz back in 2022. How do you navigate problem parents? What do you make of this story? Times writer Hannah Betts has some experience of this and is also a very good, wise observer of the modern world. Morning, Hannah.
What a kind thing to say, Stig.
What did you make of this? Because we've talked. It's been a day for social media blurts. Donald Trump is, of course, ruling the world via the medium of the social media blurt. But this was quite a statement from Beckham.
It was. A friend sent it to me last night, and oh, isn't it all so ghastly? I think they probably all are ghastly. And the little Beckham boy, Brooklyn, I mean, is he little? I don't know. They're all fairly little, aren't they? It was sort of very poignant. Partly his sort of lack of grammar and his terrible self-expression was poignant. That phrase that you just repeated, Stig, about his mother dancing on him is a kind of Oedipal
nightmare
horror. I mean, it's haunting in the worst possible way, isn't it? But I guess I did also feel the pain of it because my family's done, they call it cutoff culture in America now. And 5 years ago, there was an estimate from a sociologist, a sort of respected sociologist, that 67 million people, families, Americans, we should say, were doing this.
Really?
Was before it was a trend, and now all these fake psychologists on Instagram and TikTok, they sort of recommend cutoff culture. So it must be even bigger now. And it sounds quite big then, but it is a phenomenon. And this idea that particularly Gen Z and young millennials will enforce their boundaries and cut off their family because they are doing them damage. It is, people talk about, they use the word epidemic, and there is some evidence for that.
And would your advice be that actually it's better to find a way to work through these things than to walk away from them?
Well, I would personally now, so my family had a lot of experience of cutoff culture. I'm not saying we invented it, but there was a hell of a lot of it about, including my mother didn't talk to me for 10 years. So I've been on the receiving end of it. And you'd think that it would make me an advocate of talking at any cost. But actually, I agree with that. I don't think it's a first resort by any means. It's incredibly painful. It screws everybody up.
Yeah.
But I do think that your family can screw you up in oh so many ways. And I do think that it's for you to decide. And I have to say, although I think they're all ghastly, my sympathies are more with Brooklyn, just as when Meghan, I'm not a great Meghan fan, but when she made it clear that she wasn't going to rush to her father's bedside, I'm no cheerleader for her, but I do think that's her call. And I think we never know what happens in other people's families. Just as you can't judge a marriage from the outside, you can't judge a family from the outside.
That's such a good point, even when they put it all over Instagram to encourage us to do so.
Exactly.
Hannah, it's a very, very fair point that you're making. I'm sure you'll be writing about this. I can smell a times two piece.
Times readers may already be horrified at that perspective.
Lovely to speak to you.
Lovely to talk to you. Bye.
That's Hannah Betts there.
It is 9:54. Now, the Republican Speaker of the Brooklyn goes nuclear. That's the front page headline in The Sun, but it is the story of the eldest son of David and Victoria Beckham, Brooklyn, criticising his parents for their controlling behaviour and for ruining his wedding. And before you say you don't care, as I said, it is the most read on The Times this morning. Howell Davis is the bizarre editor at The Sun and joins us now. Good morning.
Hi there.
It is a bit of a jaw dropper. Lots of people were WhatsApping one another about this story. What on earth is going on here?
It really is so explosive. It's the story which is dominating my entire social media feed, and all of my friends are messaging me about it. So, I mean, this feud between Brooklyn and his parents really goes back about 4 years. But I don't think anyone really thought that it would get to this point where he would really let rip so publicly. and tear apart Brand Beckham like this. So it first started in 2022 when he got married to Nicola Peltz, who's an actress in America. And he makes lots of claims in this 6-page statement he put out on Instagram last night that he said Victoria hijacked their first dance. He said that she danced inappropriately on him, and he said that he'd never felt more humiliated in his life. He also goes on to say that Victoria pulled out of designing his wife's dress at the 11th hour. He said that his parents tried to get him to sign the rights to his name away. And he said that Victoria even called him evil for not sitting her at the top table at the wedding. So that's all sort of the stuff from back in 2022, but there's obviously a lot more stuff from more recently. Like last year, it became very visible that this feud was absolutely real when Brooklyn and Nicola didn't attend David Beckham's 50th birthday. That was when it really hit a new level. And he speaks about that in this statement as well. He says that he was rejected by his family. He was in London ready to see them, but he was made to feel unwelcome. And he just, really lets loose and says Brand Beckham is all that his parents really care about. And so it's really a nuclear statement.
And have we heard anything from David and Victoria? Because that's the next big question here, isn't it? What on earth will they do?
Yeah, I mean, that's the big question because David and Victoria have been very careful about what they've said about this the whole time. Victoria did a lot of press for her Netflix show last year, but really did not talk about Brooklyn at all because she knew it was a sensitive issue. I think they will have been tearing their hair out overnight, realistically, because they, have very carefully manicured their public image for a long time now to avoid any scandals. And this will really have come out of nowhere for them. I think they wouldn't have been expecting it.
Yeah, well, there's some super sleuthing going on about some of the claims in that post by Brooklyn Beckham, and no doubt more on The Sun today and on thetimes.com. Hal Davis, thanks very much.
Thank you.